this video, we are going to see how we can use AWS Lambda and AWS SNS service. I've created this web app which allows you to upload a file to the S3 bucket. Once the file is uploaded to the S3 bucket, it will trigger a Lambda function. That Lambda function will trigger the simple notification service within AWS, and it will send a notification email to us. Okay, so this is what we are going to build today. Let's look at the Flask web app that we have created here that you see right now. So if you go to the code, if you've seen my earlier videos, you will notice that the code is exactly the same, but I'll still go through the Python code. So this is the function that actually uploads the file to the AWS bucket. So I have a route pointing to /upload, and I have the method post. So when the user clicks on the submit button on the front end in the HTML file, it will check whether the request is a post request or not. It will check whether the file uh, is uh, uploaded by the user or not. If the image of the file is already there, it will call the S3 upload file function which we have within S3. And since we have already mentioned the bucket name where we want to put it, I have mentioned it over here. It will go to that. It will go to that bucket and put the file over there. Once that is done, it will say that upload has been done. Okay. So let's go to the HTML file. So this is the main part is over here inside the form tag where I have the action item. When the user clicks on the submit button, it will take the action of /upload, right? And this is where you call in the app.route. Okay. And I have an input file and I have an input type submit. Okay. So this is the code that I've already explained in my previous video. I'll put the link in the description below and you guys can check it out. Okay. So let's do this first. I'll upload one image to the S3 bucket and see this in action. So maybe, so I have this file, an image. I'll click on upload. So it says upload done. So if I go to my if I go to my S3 bucket, this is my S3 bucket. I do a refresh. So this is the file that I uploaded right now. Okay. And now if I go to my email, according to my application, it should trigger the Lambda function and it should execute the notification and send it to my email, right? So let's go to my email. So if you see, I've got a notification here, and if you see, this is the notification that I've received, and you will see the name of the file. Yeah, so this is the one that I uploaded right now. Okay, so this is the use case that we are going to look at today. Okay. So now let's go to the S3 bucket first. I hope you already know how to create a S3 bucket. So I'd already created the S3 bucket. If you don't know, just click on create bucket, give the name of the bucket, whichever you wish to. And all the other things you could keep them default. I have unchecked this box for the use case, and apart from that, I have made all the other settings as default. So this is how you can create your bucket. Let's move to the functions to the Lambda function now. Okay. So if you see here, if you go to this, I have two Lambda functions that I already created. This is the one that we were seeing right now. Okay. So we'll look into that function. So before that, let's create one function. I'll show you how to create one function. Click on create one function. You can use a blueprint where you already have many different things here how to work on, but let's go with creating from scratch. Okay. So here I'll give demo hacker shrine, choose Python. I chose 3.7. You can choose 3.8 as well. Okay. I've for the last time when I created the function I used the basic Lambda permissions. You can go ahead with this. If you already have a role existing, make sure you know about it and then you can put it over here. Okay. Advanced setting, you could keep this. Uh, if you need it, you can use it, but for this purpose, we won't be using this. Okay. Let's click on create function and create our function. Okay, your function is now created, and you see we get a default function here created. So if you just click on this, if you just test it, give some name, test maybe one, and if you click on test, you get the output as hello from Lambda, which is this function. So this is where we are going to write our logic, where once the user has uploaded the button, it will do some logic here and then send us a notification. Okay, so this is how you create the Lambda function. Let me open the other function as well. So this is the one that we were using. So if you see here, I've changed the the default one to something else. Okay, so this is what we're going to look at. So I won't be changing here. I'll just show you what the code does. So here I'm using the S3 service because this is where we want to do. So this is where I want to do some logic of my own. Okay, so that's why we are using S3 here. The second is the SNS. We'll be connecting our notification service if we want to use it. Okay, and this is our actual function. So what I want to do is right now is once the user uploads the uh, file to the S3 bucket, I want this Lambda function to count the number of files into that bucket and tell me the count of the objects in that bucket and give me that output. So simple. I've taken the s3.bucket function and I've given the name of my bucket. I have initialized a counter to 0, and I'm simply looping over the objects of all the bucket of all the objects in that bucket, and I'm increasing the counter, and I'm also printing the name of the file that I've uploaded. In this case, it's the key. Okay, and once that is done, I'll just simply print the count. Okay, so this is a simple function what Lambda is going to do. Okay, the next part is the adding the trigger button and the adding the destination part. Okay, so to add a trigger, so this is a trigger which you want to say that if this action has been performed, please execute this Lambda function. So to add a trigger, you can add multiple triggers. So in this case, we are going to use the S3 one. So if you just say S3, select it, and then you can choose the bucket. So this is the one bucket that we chose, right? So if I want some other bucket, you can choose what type of event you want. So someone putting everything something on the bucket, someone copying anything from the bucket. So when do you want to trigger your Lambda function? In this case, I've kept like all create events. I've used that here, and if there are any specific files that you want to put, then you can put the prefix and suffix as per your use case. Okay, and you can untick this box and click on add. Okay, so this is added, and if you see there are two buckets here, right? So if I click on this, it gives me both the buckets. Okay, so the previous one which we were actually using, which I showed you earlier at the start of the video, was the Lambda S3. Okay, the second part is now once the trigger has happened and you want to your Lambda function is also executed, you can actually say that I want a notification to be sent to my uh, email ID. Okay, so that's where you need to add this. But before you add this, you need to set your notification service as well. Okay, so let's hop on to our notification service. Okay, so this is the notification service that you have to create a new topic. So notification services have topics and subscriptions. Okay, so here I have created one and I have one subscription as well. So let's create another topic. I have used the standard one. You can give name demo hs, and this is optional. I leave it, and all other things you can leave it the default ones, and it will work. Okay, for here delivery status login, which is optional, you can tick maybe the Lambda so that it logs your activity. And okay, so here is where you need to add something, your IAM roles. Okay, you can create a new one. So if you create a new one, let's create a new one, create new roles. So it goes to your IAM service of your AWS, and let's create that as well. So I'll keep the name and everything default. I'll create a new one, IAM role, right? Summary. One is success, one is failure. Okay, I'll keep this the way it is, and you can click on allow. So this will create the IAM service. So I've already done this. I don't want to do it again. I can show you what the next part is from the previous topic that I've already created. So I'll just cancel this. Okay, so let's go to topics. So once you do that, a new topic will be added over here. So this is the one that I already created. So when I click on this, you will see I have one subscription also created, right? So the subscription is the one where you need to add to whom that you want to send the notification to. Okay, so I had created one subscription and it goes to my email ID. So if I create another one, select a protocol, you want an email, you want another queue service if you want, or another Lambda that is also there. So in this, I had chosen email, right? And you can give your email ID. Once that is done, you can directly click on create subscription, and that will create your subscription, right? So I've already done that, and that's how I got it over here. Okay, so this is how you create your SNS topic and subscription. Now let's look at the permissions part. Okay, so there are two things that you need to do. One is your Lambda, and the other is your simple notification service. Okay, so when you created a new existing role in notification service, you can go to your IAM part, IAM service. Let me show you from here. Right, so you can go to roles. Here you can search for your see SNS success feedback. That was the default one. So if you click on here, you can click on this. Once you come over here, you can attach policies. Okay, so click on attach policies, right? And you need to give access to S3, which I've already given. That's why you don't see here S3 all access. So let me cancel this. So if you see, I've given access to a S3 full access and Lambda full access to my notification service, right? So if I go to attach policies and if I search for S3, you won't see that full access because I've already given, right? If I search for Lambda, you won't see that because I've already given, right? So make sure you tick it, like, tick the checkbox and attach policy, right? And it will pop up here over here. Okay, this is the default one which comes. All right. So this is the IAM policy, identity access management you have to do for your notification service. There's one more that you need to do is for your Lambda function as well. Okay. So what you do is you come over here and you search for your Lambda function. So list S3 buckets is the name, right, that I had. So if I go over here, so I have that role over here already there once you create your Lambda function. Okay. So the other one was, I think it was demo, right? See, demo Hackerstein role is already available there. So I'll show you how to add. So you can click on this. It says attach policies. I don't have any policies over here, right? Click on attach policies. Add your S3. See, Amazon S3 full access. Click on this. Let's give notification also. That will be SNS full access, right? Click on attach policy. I have my two ready, right? The policies are here. So this is how you will access the user will be able to access these two services. Okay, so these two are important steps. Make sure you don't forget that. Otherwise, when you execute your Lambda function, it will actually give you an error saying that access denied. Right. So maybe I could show you. So if I click on, okay, it was ging because it was already added. So once you add your code, the actual code, the actual code where you're connecting to S3 bucket, it will say access denied. Okay, so this is how you will manage both your IAM from the IAM console. Okay, now once this is done, you have so once that is done, you can come over here and you can add a destination. I've already done so. Here you can go for asynchronous, you can go for on success, create your topic. This is the SNS topic, and here you'll get the new destination that you had created, right? So in this case, it was notif for me, and I can save it. Once I save it, I'll get this over here, right? Amazon SNS. And once this is done, and your if you've already seen my previous video, your Flask app is also running, right? So if your Flask app is already running, you can go to your localhost, and you can choose a file, and once you upload it, it will trigger the Lambda function here, right? This is how it works. And there's one more thing that I can show you is you can see the count. Let's try once more. I'll choose a file. Let me put maybe graph, upload done. I got the message here as well. Okay, so if you wish to see the count over here, you if you just click on test over here, you can get the execution result, and it shows 11 over here, and these are the files that are actually the number of objects in the bucket, right? So this is the key, printing the key, oops, printing the key, and then printing the count, right? So this is where you get it. Okay, now if you wish to send some data from this function to your email, what you can do is, I have tried that as well, and I'll show you that. So I'll just uncomment this part, save it. So what I'm doing right now here, if let's see the count is not zero, there are some objects you already have in your bucket. If the count is not zero, it will say that object found, or objects found rather, and sending a notification. And what you can do is use sns.publish, and you can get the topic ARN from your notification service. So if you go over here, go to your topics. So this ARN number, ARN string, you can copy and put it over here. Then you can you have a parameter message where you can say whatever you want. So I'm saying the file is uploaded, and the number of submissions received are plus the count that you calculated in this Lambda function. Okay, so this is what you can send from your Lambda function directly to your notification as well. And the subject of the email can be application received. Okay, so let's try this. Let me deploy this. Okay, let me restart my Flask app as well. Right. Yeah. So let's choose one file now. Let's say not zero. let's say analysis.png and upload. It says upload done. Now when you go to my bucket, where's my bucket? Here's my bucket. That was analysis, right? Analysis.png has come over here. If I go to my email, I should get the message as well. See, I have two now. One is the notification message giving me the name like this over here, right? And the other email would be the one that you sent. The file is uploaded. The number of submissions received are 12, which is correct, right? The count that we calculated in the Lambda function. So this is also, you can send custom messages to the respective email ID. Okay, so that part also you can do in your Lambda function and provide the results over there. So this is what I wanted to show you in this video. I have the entire code for the S3 bucket already on my GitHub, and you can go over there and get the Flask and the Python part from there. And for this particular setting up the SNS, you can try once and let us know in the comments if you face any issues. We are happy to solve. So that's it for this video. I hope you learned something. If you like our content, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.